In the autumn of 9 AD, three elite Roman legions marched into the dense, foggy forests of Germania. Over 20,000 battle-hardened soldiers believed they were marching to enforce Roman law. Instead, they were walking directly into the deadliest trap in ancient military history. Within 72 hours, three whole legions vanished from the face of the earth. The Roman Empire would never recover from what happened in the Teutoburg Forest. At the height of its power, Rome believed its expansion was unstoppable. Emperor Augustus envisioned converting the wild lands east of the Rhine into a peaceful Roman province. To achieve this, Augustus appointed Publius Quinctilius Varus as the governor of Germania. Varus was an experienced politician, but he lacked deep military insight regarding tribal warfare. He treated the fierce Germanic tribes as subjugated citizens, imposing heavy taxes and strict Roman laws. Among Varus's trusted advisors was Arminius, a young chieftain of the Cherusci tribe. Arminius had been taken to Rome as a hostage in his youth and trained as a Roman military officer. He understood Roman tactics, weapon systems, and military logistics perfectly. To Varus, Arminius was a loyal ally. To his own people, he was their last hope for freedom. Secretly, Arminius united rival Germanic tribes into a massive covert coalition. In late September 9 AD, Arminius fabricated a report of a local rebellion deep in unfamiliar territory. He urged Varus to divert his marching army off the safe highway to crush the uprising. Older Roman commanders warned Varus of potential treachery, but Varus dismissed their concerns. The Roman column stretched over 15 kilometers long, clogged with supply wagons and camp followers. As the heavy autumn rains began to fall, the muddy ground slowed the marching legions to a crawl. Arminius excused himself from the Roman camp under the pretext of gathering native reinforcements. He never returned. The Roman army was guided into a narrow pass between the Calcrease Hill and a vast swamp. Dense trees blocked their formation, preventing the legions from forming their iconic battle lines. Suddenly, a rain of spears rained down from the dark forest canopy. Thousands of Germanic warriors charged down the slippery slopes into the trapped Roman column. The Roman heavy armor became a burden in the deep waterlogged mud. Bowstrings snapped in the torrential rain, and shields grew too heavy to lift. Panic spread rapidly along the stretched-out 15-kilometer line. Roman cavalry tried to break out, but the thick vegetation destroyed their cohesion. Roman cavalry tried to break out, but the thick vegetation destroyed their cohesion. The initial ambush cut the Roman vanguard to pieces within hours. Night fell, bringing cold rain and terror to the surviving legionnaires. They managed to build a makeshift fortified camp, but their morale was utterly shattered. On the second day, Varus attempted to break through toward open terrain. However, Arminius anticipated every move, blocking retreat routes with felled trees and earthen ramparts. The Germanic fighters utilized hit-and-run guerrilla tactics, vanishing back into the fog after every strike. By the third day, the discipline of the imperial army completely collapsed. Realizing that capture meant brutal sacrifice to ancient tribal gods, Varus took his own life. High-ranking officers followed their commander, falling upon their own swords. Leaderless and exhausted, the remaining Roman soldiers made a desperate final stand. The massacre was absolute. Nearly 20,000 Romans perished in the mud. Sacred Roman eagles, the golden standards of the 17th, 18th, and 19th legions, were captured. News of the annihilation reached Rome weeks later, sending shockwaves through the empire. Emperor Augustus was devastated, reportedly tearing his clothes and wandering his palace in grief. Historical accounts record him screaming into the night, "Quintili vare, legiones rede." Quintilius Varus, give me back my legions. Fear swept across Italy that Germanic tribes would cross the Rhine and march on Rome itself. Augustus immediately expelled all Germanic bodyguards from the capital and declared a state of emergency. Years later, the Roman general Germanicus launched punitive campaigns into the region. His soldiers discovered the battle site 6 years after the tragedy. They found bleached human bones, nailed helmets, and sacrificial altars hidden in the dark groves. Although Rome won subsequent tactical victories, they realized Germania could never be fully subjected. This disaster set the northern border of the Roman Empire at the Rhine River for centuries. This natural border fundamentally altered the geopolitical layout of Western Europe. It separated the Latinized Mediterranean world from the tribal Germanic north.
Arminius achieved what no foreign enemy achieved before, stopping Rome's expansion in its tracks. He proved that even the greatest empire in antiquity had glaring tactical vulnerabilities. The 3 lost legion numbers, 17, 18, and 19, were never used again in Roman military history. They became eternal symbols of defeat and disgrace. Modern archaeology at Calcrise has uncovered thousands of artifacts confirming the location of the slaughter. Slinger bullets, iron face masks, and crushed armor remnants paint a vivid picture of those brutal 3 days. The Teutoburg Forest was not merely a military loss, it was a psychological turning point. It broke the myth of Roman invincibility across the known world. Tribal leaders across Europe realized that discipline could be overthrown by terrain and surprise. Had Varus succeeded, modern European languages, laws, and culture would look radically different. The Germanic languages, including English and German, survived because of this single military failure. Arminius became a legendary figure of resistance, celebrated in European history for millennia. Yet his victory was born from deceit, betrayal, and absolute tactical brilliance. He turned Rome's own weapons and organizational training against the empire that raised him. The dense canopy of Teutoburg remains a silent witness to the single worst day in Roman history. An entire army swallowed by the wild frontier, never to return. An imperial vision crushed under the weight of mud, rain, and blood. The legend of the lost legions serves as a timeless warning about overextension and arrogance. Rome continued to rule the Mediterranean, but its northern dreams ended in that dark forest. The border established in 9 AD endured until the final collapse of the Western Roman Empire. One decision, one ambush, and one rainy day reshaped the fate of an entire continent. 3 legions vanished, but their story echoes through 2,000 years of history. What other hidden truths lie buried beneath the ancient forests of Europe? The shadow of Teutoburg still hangs over the story of human warfare, and the lost legions of Rome remain forever frozen in time.